Right now, as you interact with the world, you're sending signals. Constant, unfiltered signals about who you are and what you're worth. And here's the brutal reality. Most people are unknowingly broadcasting one devastating message on repeat. I don't value myself. They're doing it through their words, their body language, their choices, and their reactions. And the worst part? They have no idea they're doing it. But everyone around them knows. Your colleagues see it. Your friends sense it. Even strangers pick up on it within seconds of meeting you. And once people detect that you don't respect yourself, they unconsciously adjust how they treat you. They push boundaries, they take advantage, they dismiss you, not because they're evil, but because humans instinctively respect those who respect themselves and disregard those who don't. Here's the question that should terrify you. What are you doing right now, today, this week, that's telling the world you're not worth respecting? What you're about to discover are 7 unconscious behaviors that are systematically destroying your credibility and respect. These aren't obvious mistakes like being rude or lazy. These are subtle, socially acceptable patterns that seem harmless, but are quietly sabotaging your reputation, your relationships, and your power. The ancient philosophers understood something profound about human nature. Respect isn't given. It's commanded. Not through aggression or dominance, but through how you carry yourself, how you establish boundaries, and how you respond when tested. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete framework for eliminating the behaviors that make you invisible and replaceable, and replacing them with the quiet, undeniable presence that makes people sit up and pay attention without you saying a word. If you're tired of being overlooked, interrupted, and underestimated, this is where everything changes. Let's begin. Habit 1. The compulsive justification trap. Let's start with something that feels completely harmless, but is actually bleeding your power dry, over-explaining yourself. Someone questions your decision. Someone misunderstands your intention. Someone makes an assumption about you. And immediately, without even thinking, you launch into a detailed explanation. You provide context. You justify your reasoning. You clarify your motivations. You keep talking and talking until you're sure they understand. And with every additional word, you're handing away more of your authority. Here's what most people don't understand. The compulsion to over-explain isn't about communication. It's about insecurity. You're trying to manage someone else's perception of you because deep down, you're terrified of being misunderstood or judged. But here's the reality check. You cannot control what people think about you. That's completely outside your domain of influence. And every moment you spend trying to manipulate their opinion is a moment you're admitting that their opinion matters more than your own self-knowledge. The ancient philosophers were crystal clear about this. Focus only on what you can control. Your choices, your actions, your integrity. Everything else, let it go. Think about people who command real respect. Do they constantly explain themselves? Do they chase you down to make sure you understand their reasoning? Of course not. They state their position clearly once, and then they move on. If you get it, great. If you don't, that's your problem, not theirs. This is what confidence actually looks like. Not arrogance, not dismissiveness. Just a grounded certainty that doesn't require external validation. Now, I'm not saying you should never explain anything. Clear communication is valuable. But there's a massive difference between providing necessary information and desperately justifying yourself because you need approval. Here's the test. Notice how much you're talking. If you're explaining the same point 3 different ways, if you're preemptively defending yourself against criticism that hasn't even happened, If you're adding qualifiers and disclaimers to soften your message, you're over-explaining. And every time you do this, you're training people to question you more, challenge you more, and respect you less. Because when you act like your decisions need extensive justification, people start believing they do. Try this instead. State your position clearly and concisely. Use the minimum words necessary. Then stop talking. Let the silence do the work. If someone misunderstands, that's valuable information about them. They either weren't listening carefully or they're deliberately misinterpreting you. Neither situation requires you to debase yourself with desperate explanations. The people who truly matter will understand you without excessive explanation. The people who don't matter or who are acting in bad faith will never be satisfied no matter how much you explain. So, stop performing for an audience that's never going to applaud. Say what you mean once, clearly and confidently. Then let your actions prove your words over time. When you stop over-explaining, something remarkable happens. People start actually listening to what you say. Because scarcity creates value. And when your words become more scarce and intentional, they carry more weight. Habit 2. The peace at any price delusion. Now let's address something that destroys more self-respect than almost anything else. Tolerating disrespect in the name of keeping the peace. Someone makes a cutting remark about you in a group setting. Someone consistently interrupts you mid-sentence. Someone takes credit for your work or dismisses your contribution. And what do? You smile, you let it slide, you tell yourself it's not worth the conflict. After all, you don't want to be dramatic. You don't want to cause a scene. You value harmony and maturity, right? Wrong. What you're actually doing is teaching people that disrespecting you is acceptable and consequence-free. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When you fail to address disrespect, you're not being mature or avoiding drama. You're being a doormat. And everyone around you learns that they can treat you however they want without repercussion. The ancient philosophers weren't passive pushovers. They understood that true peace doesn't come from avoiding conflict. It comes from establishing such firm boundaries that conflict rarely becomes necessary. Think about it. People don't repeatedly test those who clearly won't tolerate disrespect. They test those who've demonstrated they'll absorb it without response. Every time you let something slide, you're essentially putting up a sign that says, "Disrespect welcome here." Now, I'm not suggesting you become combative or aggressive over every little thing. There's a massive difference between picking battles wisely and avoiding all battles entirely. What I'm talking about is addressing clear, repeated disrespect with calm, firm boundaries. This might look like directly addressing someone who just insulted you. That comment was inappropriate, and I'm not going to engage with that. Not angry, not emotional, just a clear line in the sand. It might look like walking away from a conversation where you're being consistently interrupted or talked over, making it clear that your time is too valuable to spend where you're not respected. It might look like privately addressing someone who's been undermining you, making it explicitly clear that the behavior stops now. The key is this: your response doesn't need to be loud or aggressive to be effective. It just needs to be unmistakable. People need to understand, through your words and actions, that disrespecting you has consequences. And here's what happens when you start establishing these boundaries. Initially, some people will be surprised. They might even be offended that you're suddenly so sensitive. But pay attention to what happens next. The people who actually value you will adjust their behavior. The people who don't will either escalate, revealing their true character, or they'll fade from your life. Both outcomes are wins. You either get better treatment or you eliminate toxic people. Either way, you win. Real peace isn't the absence of conflict. Real peace is knowing you have the strength to face conflict when necessary and the boundaries to make it rarely necessary. So stop sacrificing your self-respect on the altar of false harmony. The peace you're getting by tolerating disrespect is actually just slow-burn resentment and diminishing self-worth. Stand up for yourself, not with rage, not with drama, but with unwavering firmness. Because the moment you do, you'll discover that most people respect boundaries once they realize you actually have them. Habit 3. The reflexive apology syndrome. Here's a pattern that's so normalized, you probably don't even notice you're doing it. Apologizing when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. Tension arises in a conversation. Someone seems upset. The atmosphere gets uncomfortable. And your immediate response? I'm sorry. Not because you've actually done something to apologize for, but because you want to diffuse the situation, make the other person feel better, or ease your own discomfort with conflict. But here's what happens every time you issue an unearned apology. You're not making peace. You're accepting undeserved blame. You're telling yourself and the other person that you're at fault when you're not. And you're training everyone around you to view you as someone who will shoulder responsibility for things that aren't your burden. This is absolutely devastating to self-respect. Because when you habitually apologize for things you didn't do, you start believing at a core level that your mere existence is something to apologize for. Your success becomes something to downplay. Your standards become something to soften. Your boundaries become something to negotiate away. The ancient philosophers understood something crucial. If you've done wrong, admit it immediately and completely. That's honor. But if you haven't done wrong, standing in your truth is equally honorable. Maybe more so. Think about what a genuine apology actually is. An acknowledgement of harm you caused and a commitment to do better. When you apologize for things you didn't cause, you're cheapening the entire concept. Your apologies become meaningless noise rather than meaningful accountability. More importantly, you're establishing a pattern where you're always the one who yields, always the one who takes the blame, always the one who makes yourself smaller to make others comfortable. And people notice. They might not consciously think, this person has no self-respect, but unconsciously, they adjust their behavior. They start pushing boundaries more. They start expecting you to accommodate them. They start viewing you as someone who can be easily controlled through the slightest hint of displeasure. Here's your new standard. Apologize immediately and sincerely when you're wrong. But when you're not wrong, stand firm. Even if the other person is upset, even if the atmosphere is tense, even if it would be easier to just say sorry and move on. If someone is pushing you to apologize for something that isn't your fault, that's valuable information about them. They're either manipulative or they have such poor boundaries that they expect the world to revolve around their feelings. Neither scenario requires you to betray yourself with false apologies. Try this. The next time you feel that reflexive, I'm sorry, rising in your throat, pause. Ask yourself, what specifically did I do wrong? If you can't identify a clear action that caused harm, don't apologize. You can acknowledge someone's feelings without accepting blame. I understand you're upset is very different from, I'm sorry I upset you, when you didn't actually do anything wrong. This shift feels uncomfortable at first because you're breaking a deeply ingrained pattern. But watch what happens. People start respecting your boundaries more. Conflicts get resolved more honestly. And most importantly, you start respecting yourself again. Remember, self-respect isn't earned through approval. It's earned through conviction, through standing firm in your truth, even when it would be easier to collapse. Stop apologizing for existing, for succeeding, for having standards. Save your apologies for when they actually mean something. Habit 4. The unlimited access mistake. Let's talk about something that seems generous, but is actually destroying your value. Being too available. Your phone is always on. Your door is always open. Your schedule accommodates everyone else's needs before your own. You respond to messages within seconds. You say yes to every request. You pride yourself on being helpful, accessible, and reliable. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, people stop appreciating you. They start taking you for granted. Your time becomes the default solution to everyone else's problems. Here's the brutal economics of respect. Scarcity creates value. When something is abundant and always available, it's perceived as less valuable. This applies to products, opportunities, and yes, to people. The ancient philosophers were fiercely protective of their time and attention. They understood that life is short, and that how you spend your attention literally determines the quality and direction of your entire existence. When you make yourself constantly available, you're sending a clear message. My time isn't valuable. I have nothing more important to do than be at your disposal. And people believe you. They internalize that message and treat your time accordingly, as something cheap and expendable. Think about the people you respect most. Are they constantly available? Do they respond to every message immediately? Do they drop everything whenever someone needs something? Probably not. They have boundaries. They protect their time. And paradoxically, that makes you value their attention more when you do get it. Now, I'm not suggesting you become cold or unresponsive to people who genuinely matter. I'm talking about indiscriminate availability, treating everyone's request with equal urgency regardless of its actual importance or the person's relationship to you. Here's what protecting your access looks like. You don't respond to messages instantly unless it's a genuine emergency. You let people learn that you check your messages on your schedule, not theirs. You have blocks of time that are completely unavailable for your work, your development, your peace. You start saying no to requests that don't align with your priorities. Not rudely, not with elaborate explanation, just a simple, I can't commit to that right now. You make people earn access to your time by demonstrating that they value and respect it. If someone consistently treats your time as disposable, you reduce their access accordingly. What happens when you start doing this? Initially, some people get frustrated. They're used to having unlimited access, and they don't like the new boundaries. But here's the crucial part. The right people adjust and appreciate it. They recognize that your time is valuable, and they treat their moments with you more intentionally. The wrong people? They get angry, or they disappear. And both outcomes are wins, because they reveal that they never actually valued you. They valued your convenience. Your attention is your most precious resource. It's literally the only thing you have. Every moment given to someone else is a moment you can never reclaim. When you give it away freely to anyone who asks, you're saying it's worthless. Start protecting it like the rare, irreplaceable asset it is. Create boundaries around your time. Build structure into your availability. Let people learn that access to you is earned, not assumed. When you become more scarce, your value multiplies. When your attention becomes selective, people pay more attention when they have it. This isn't game playing or manipulation. It's basic respect for yourself and the finite nature of your life. The rare is respected. The abundant is ignored. If you want respect, start acting like your time and presence are the valuable commodities they actually are. Habit 5. The approval addiction. Now we're going to address one of the most subtle but devastating respect killers, constantly seeking approval from everyone around you. You walk into a room and immediately scan for validation signals. Did they notice you? Do they seem receptive? You adjust your opinions based on who you're talking to. You modify your behavior to match what you think people want to see. You hide parts of yourself that might be controversial or unpopular. And with each adjustment, each modification, each moment of self-censorship, you become more invisible. Here's the paradox that most people never grasp. The more you chase approval, the less you receive respect. These are completely different currencies, and they're largely incompatible. Approval is what you get when you make yourself palatable, agreeable, non-threatening. It's what you receive for conforming, for not making waves, for telling people what they want to hear. Respect is what you earn when you stand firm in your authentic self, regardless of whether people approve. It's what you command when your actions align with your values, even when it's uncomfortable. You can have one or the other, but rarely both. The ancient philosophers were explicit about this. If you want to grow, if you want to be truly solid, you must become comfortable being misunderstood, disapproved of, and even thought foolish by people who don't share your vision. Because here's the reality. Genuine authenticity will always alienate some people. Your real opinions will offend someone. Your actual boundaries will disappoint someone. Your true self will be too much for some people and not enough for others. And the moment you start adjusting yourself to accommodate all these different reactions, you lose the very thing that makes you worthy of respect, your core integrity. Think about people you genuinely respect. Do they constantly seek your approval? Do they shift their positions based on who's in the room? Do they perform for validation? No. They show up as themselves consistently. And even when you disagree with them, you respect them because they're real. That's what you're sacrificing when you chase approval. Your realness, your substance, your edge. You sand down all your interesting angles until you're so smooth and inoffensive that you slip through people's attention without leaving any impression at all. Here's your new operating system. Anchor yourself in your own values and perspectives. Know what you believe and why. When you speak, say what you actually think, not what you think people want to hear. If they agree, good. If they don't, also good. You're not performing a popularity contest. You're building a life of integrity. This doesn't mean being needlessly provocative or offensive. It means being honest, real, consistent. It means being the same person in private as you are in public. The same person in different social circles. The same person whether you're being observed or not. When you stop performing for approval and start showing up authentically, something remarkable happens. You start attracting the right people while repelling the wrong ones. The people who appreciate authenticity gravitate toward you. The people who need you to be a chameleon eventually leave. Both outcomes improve your life dramatically. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop needing everyone to approve of you, you develop an unshakable center. Other people's opinions become interesting data points rather than determinants of your worth. You can hear criticism without crumbling. You can face disapproval without changing course. That's real power. Not the ability to make everyone like you, but the freedom to be yourself, regardless of who does or doesn't. So stop adjusting, stop performing, stop changing your colors based on your environment. Show up as who you actually are and let the chips fall where they may. Respect follows authenticity. Always. It might not be immediate, and it might not come from everyone, but it comes from the people who matter, and it's rooted in something real rather than something fabricated. Habit 6. The premature revelation error. Here's a mistake that's costing you more than you realize. sharing your strategies, goals, and plans with people who haven't earned that access. You have an exciting idea, a new goal, a strategy for improving your life. And you're enthusiastic, so you share it. With friends, with family, with acquaintances, with people on social media. And immediately, the doubt starts flowing. That's unrealistic. You don't have the resources for that. Remember when you tried something similar and it didn't work? Who do you think you are? Or worse, you get false support, people who smile and encourage you to your face while secretly hoping you fail or actively sabotaging you behind the scenes. The ancient philosophers understood something crucial. Not everyone deserves access to your vision. Some people are constitutionally unable to support growth that exceeds their own. Some people are so trapped in their limited worldview that anything beyond it seems impossible. Some people are actively malicious, and when you share your tender emerging plans with these people, you're essentially handing them the power to crush those plans before they have a chance to develop. Here's what happens psychologically when you prematurely reveal your goals. You get a dopamine hit from talking about them that your brain processes similarly to actually achieving them. You've released the pressure, you've received validation or attention, even if negative. And suddenly, the drive to actually do the thing diminishes. You've already received some of the reward by talking about it, so the actual work becomes less compelling. Plus, you've now invited accountability from people who don't have your best interests at heart. They'll watch for your failure. They'll remind you of your words when things get difficult. They'll use your own declared ambitions as weapons against you. So here's your new standard. Move in silence until your results speak for themselves. Keep your strategies close. Share your vision only with the tiny percentage of people who've demonstrated through action, not just words, that they genuinely want you to succeed. Everyone else gets surface-level information at best. This doesn't mean being secretive or dishonest. If someone directly asks what you're working on, you can give a vague but truthful answer. I'm focusing on personal development, or I'm working on some business projects is sufficient for people who haven't earned detailed access. The people who truly matter will see your changes through your actions, not your announcements. They'll notice you're becoming more disciplined, more focused, more successful, and they'll respect the mystery of how you pulled it off. Here's the beautiful part about moving in silence. You remove the resistance. When people don't know what you're building, they can't tell you why it won't work. When they don't know your plans, they can't insert their doubts and limitations into your process. You build momentum without interference. You develop confidence through action rather than talk. And when you finally reveal what you've accomplished, it carries infinitely more weight than what you promised to do. Talk is cheap. Everyone has plans and ideas, but very few people execute. Be someone who executes first and reveals later. Let your results be the announcement. Let your transformation be the proof. Let people wonder how you changed so dramatically while they were distracted by others who were all talk. This is how you build real respect, through demonstrated competence, not declared intention. Through consistent action, not constant updates. Through silent progress that eventually becomes undeniable. If they didn't help build it, they don't need to know about it until it's built. Habit 7. The emotional hijacking pattern. Finally, let's address the respect killer that's probably the most common and most damaging. Letting your emotions control your actions. Someone says something that triggers you. You immediately snap back. Someone ignores you. You spiral into insecurity. Someone challenges you. You become defensive and reactive. Your emotional state at any given moment dictates your behavior, and everyone around you can see it. And when people see that you can be easily triggered, easily manipulated, easily thrown off your center, they lose respect for you. Not because they're cruel, but because stability and self-control are among the most fundamental markers of maturity and strength. The ancient philosophers didn't believe emotions were bad or wrong. They felt everything: anger, fear, desire, grief. But they understood that being controlled by those emotions versus experiencing them while maintaining behavioral control are two completely different things. Think about the people who command the most respect in high-pressure situations. They're not the ones who react immediately and intensely to every development. They're the ones who stay calm, who process what's happening, who respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. When chaos erupts, people don't look to the person who's going to panic or explode. They look to the person who's going to stay composed and make clear-headed decisions despite feeling the pressure. That's real power. Not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Here's what emotional control looks like in practice. Someone insults you, and you feel the anger rise. But instead of immediately retaliating, you create space. You breathe. You recognize the emotion without being enslaved by it. And then you choose your response based on what's actually useful, not what feels temporarily satisfying. Someone tries to provoke you into an argument, and you simply don't take the bait. Not because you're weak or passive, but because you've decided that maintaining your composure is more valuable than winning a pointless conflict. Something disappointing happens, and instead of spiraling or catastrophizing, you acknowledge the feeling, process it, and then focus on what you can actually control, your response and next steps. This doesn't mean becoming a robot. It means becoming someone who experiences emotions fully, but isn't controlled by them. Someone who feels intensely, but acts strategically. When you develop this capacity, something remarkable happens. People start trusting you. They know they can count on you not to explode, not to make rash decisions, not to crumble under pressure. Your stability becomes a resource that others value immensely. And more importantly, you start trusting yourself. You know that no matter what happens, you won't betray yourself through impulsive, emotion-driven actions you'll regret later. Here's how to develop this. Start creating space between stimulus and response. When something triggers an emotional reaction, instead of immediately acting, pause. Even just 5 seconds can make the difference between a reaction you regret and a response you're proud of. Practice labeling your emotions without judgment. I'm feeling angry right now. This situation is triggering anxiety. When you name what you're feeling, you create psychological distance that makes it easier to choose your actions. And most importantly, decide in advance how you want to show up. When you're calm, establish your standards for how you behave under pressure. Then, when emotion hits, you have a predetermined framework rather than trying to make good decisions while flooded with cortisol. The world is full of reactive people. People who are at the mercy of their emotional weather, constantly blown around by their internal states. Standing in contrast to them, calm, steady, choosing your responses, makes you immediately distinctive and respected. You don't gain respect by being loud or by having the strongest emotional reaction. You gain it by being the steady presence in an unstable world, by being hard to rattle, by being someone who can be counted on not to lose their center no matter what's happening around them. Master your emotional state, and you'll master how people perceive and treat you. Closing. The transformation. So there you have it. 7 toxic habits that have been systematically destroying your respect, often without you even realizing it. Stop over-explaining yourself. Say what you mean once, and let your actions prove you right. Stop tolerating disrespect. Establish firm boundaries and enforce them consistently. Stop apologizing for things you didn't do. Save your apologies for when they actually mean something. Stop being too available. Protect your time and attention like the rare resources they are. Stop seeking universal approval. Show up authentically and let the right people find you. Stop sharing your plans prematurely. Move in silence and let results speak. Stop letting emotions control you. Feel everything but choose your actions strategically. These aren't small adjustments. These are fundamental shifts in how you operate in the world. And here's what's beautiful about them. You don't need anyone's permission to implement them. You don't need to announce them. You just start doing them, and people adjust to the new reality you've created. But here's the critical part. Knowledge without action changes nothing. You can understand every principle in this video perfectly and still remain exactly where you are if you don't actually implement these changes. So here's what I want you to do right now. Choose one habit, just one, that resonated most strongly with you. The one where you thought, that's exactly what I do. Commit to addressing that specific pattern for the next 7 days. Maybe you're going to catch yourself every time you start over-explaining and practice brevity instead. Maybe you're going to address the next instance of disrespect instead of letting it slide. Maybe you're going to stop issuing reflexive apologies. Whatever it is, do it with full commitment. Because here's the truth about respect. It's not something you demand verbally or chase desperately. It's something you command through consistent behavior that demonstrates self-value. When you respect yourself enough to establish boundaries, to protect your time, to stand in your truth, to control your responses, other people have no choice but to respect you too. It becomes automatic. The world doesn't need more people trying to be liked by everyone. It needs more people who are solidly, authentically themselves, regardless of who's watching. People who've mastered themselves to such a degree that external validation becomes irrelevant. That person can be you. That person should be you. But it only happens through deliberate choice and consistent action. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to our channel. We're here to give you the hard truths and practical strategies that most people are too afraid to discuss. The things that actually work, not just the things that sound good. And if you know someone who's struggling with these patterns, someone who's constantly overlooked despite being capable, share this video with them. Sometimes, the right message at the right moment can catalyze a complete transformation. Respect isn't something you chase. It's something you embody, and it starts the moment you decide you're worth respecting. Now, go prove it.